Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to this visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video is all about skill migration. Guess what? Western Australia has pioneered in the area and now provided the skill migration for the state nomination of 2023 and 24. So in this video we're gonna take you into a deep dive of what Western Australia actually offer in this financial year. Despite that the new point test system hasn't even been announced, I wonder why would the state of Western Australia will jump straight in. Perhaps the need of migration is still in demand. Look, despite all the news article talking about housing crisis and things like that, a country like Australia definitely needs skilled migrants. Now let's have a look at what Western Australia actually offer. Okay, so if you wanted to just Google or whatever the browser that you're using, if you wanted to punch in WA and space migration, you should be able to find yourself in this web page. Now it's stunning to me why I've been doing this visa update for the past 3 or 4 years. Now Western Australia usually had the worst design website overall. Now looks like they have they listened and they have put some budget into the design of their website. Now it looks much cleaner, better, and it does look like 21st century, because the previous one looks like back in the 90s. You may want to search that video that I've done 2 or 3 years ago, or I think last year is still the same, so you may want to have a look anyway. Okay, so let's have a look. This news actually came out in late 17th of August on 5 a.m. 5:2 a.m. That means the actual things should really be announced by Friday, and today is Saturday. It's the 19th, so we are pretty update. So it reads 2023-24 SNMP. What does that mean? That means State Nomination Migration Program. Okay, so the changes here, it basically saying they will there's a little bit of updates, despite I don't feel much of update is actually out there. There's a prioritized invitation for Canada and occupation demand critical in a WA industry sector, as per WA state nomination invitation ranking system, which we'll have a browse. I'm not too sure where I can actually find that. Reduce employment requirements, so that's the big change here. Previously may require a certain period of work experiences and also job offer and things, so they have reduced that down. What does that tell us? That tells us the quota is more has been given. Now if we follow from the migration planning on the Home Affairs website, it does say that, you know, they're giving out more, so obviously there's a lot more given to the program, to the state, so the state will relax its criteria. So there's a rule of thumb: when we see the number of immigration quota has been decreased, so that's squeeze everyone, then the criteria will be higher. Now if they give in a more quota, then the criteria will drop. So that's basically in a nutshell there. Okay, now let's go into the details, shall we? Now this website does look much cleaner, but there's still improvement to be done there. We should really read this web page. If you go into this web page, I've gone through it, so I can share with you my experiences on viewing this web page. We should really go in from down onwards, not top down. Why do I say that? Because if we scroll right down, okay, obviously there's a lot of FAQ here. It's pretty good. You read through that. I'm not gonna go through that one, but what I wanted to show you is it does give you the ranking systems in this. Well, they should have put this right up there so people can see it. So they are looking for the general stream. There's a ranking. They are looking for people who are already in Western Australia, residing offshore in another country, and then the occupation and W industry sectors of building construction, which is in demand, and healthcare, hospitality. All right, so if you want to go to hospitality, that will be the right one to go. Education and training, so this should really be right up there. And also there's a beautiful system they somehow now they have introduced, is the search engine. It's great, so you can pick on whatever the sector that you are in and which stream, and then click on apply. Then they will show all the occupation there. Now they really should have this right up here, but anyhow, let's read them. So the first page is very generic. It's introduction. When you click on these links, that takes you into Home Affairs web page, which just for, you know, if you're first time trying to understand it, click it, have a read. But I've done a lot of video on that one. I assume that you have already done that. Now the feature for the 2023 and 24 program is brilliant. There's no fees incurred. Wow. Okay, great. Now equal invitation ranking for interstate and overseas candidate. Prioritize invitation candidate for the WA industry sector critical demand list, which is the one that we just saw right down the bottom. So that's why I'm saying they should have put that up there. Reduce employment requirements. So we'll have a look on that one. Now, they are still open. What does this one say? It says it's still open for people who have put their EOI in the last financial year, and they will be assessed under last financial year's criteria. Now, what would that make any differences? Well, what I know, and you have know, the last financial year's criteria is actually tougher than the current financial year. So what does that tell us? Screw it, put a new one in. Put a new EOI in. Okay, now the eligibility, there are three, I believe there are two major streams. So there's a general stream with schedule 1 and 2, and there is another graduate stream. So what are the differences? Basically, graduate stream is people who was an international student studying Western Australia, graduated from Western Australia, then they could access to this graduate stream, where the occupation list for the graduate occupation list is actually larger than the general stream. So if you are coming from offshore, interstate, then you will be in the general stream. Okay, now there are two hyperlinks. It's basically no use, because when you click on it, it goes back to the same of this page. So I'm not too sure why they do that for. And there's a little button here say check your eligibility, and it's a brilliant button. Love it. So when I click on it, it goes to this page that you're actually looking at. So I'm not too sure why they're creating these links and why they create this button for. Anyway, okay, so the criteria, this table is pretty useful. It's basically tell us that the if you want access to whichever stream, the requirements that they need. So every one of them required to meet the Department of Home Affairs requirement. Oh, that's that's pretty obvious, isn't it? So I think this whole thing should be removed, because it makes no sense. If you don't meet the Home Affairs requirement, how would you meet the state requirement? So anyhow, all right, nominate occupation available in the relevant list. This need to be removed as well, because if you see all this all ticked, that's pretty obvious. And the minimum English requirement, all of them got ticked. Well, my comment is remove that as well, because for the department's requirement also need the minimum English. So I don't know why they all right, okay, the useful part is read onwards. So at least 1 year Australia or 1 year overseas work experiences closely related occupations. So if you wanted to go into the general stream and the occupation is under their Schedule 1, then you're required to have at least 1 year of work experiences. Okay, and then the next one is full-time employment contract in WA with a minimum of 6 months of nominated occupation. Okay, so that means you need to get a full-time contract, and that the contract period has to be at least 6 months. Now that will require to be under the general stream with a Schedule 1 and the Schedule 2 under the subclass 190. So 190 basically give you a straight permanent residency. So if you want to secure for a permanent residency under the you will need under the general stream. That means you're coming from interstate or overseas. Then you're required to have a full-time employment contract with at least 6 months of a period in there. Okay, have obtained certificate 3 that will require from the graduate stream. That means meet the 2-year WA study requirement. That will the graduate stream will all require those kind of stuff. Basically, meaning that you actually study and resided in Western Australia. Okay, so the stream specific requirement. Didn't we just go through that up there? I'm not too sure what this was. This is just basically repeat what's up here with a little bit more detail. For example, English requirement, what does that mean? So that means IELTS 6 across 4 bands. Work experiences, didn't we have just explained that you need 1 year work experiences, blah blah blah. So a little bit of detail that the 1 year work experiences means a pay employment for at least 20 hours per week, and you need all of these pay slip, a reference letter, and blah blah blah. And the contract, how would the contract actually perform? They will have a detail here, required to be 35 hours a week, and all these details should be inserted in that contract there. I'm not gonna go through that detail, and you may want to take a little bit of a reading there. So this is such an expansion of what this table actually demonstrates. It's a great way of explaining stuff. And graduate stream, this will also, they have dropped the English requirement. I recall back 2 years ago the English requirement was 7. Now they have dropped that down to 6, all of them. And this is basically saying how you can demonstrate that you actually study in Western Australia. Okay, and they even provided a checklist of all the accredited institutions that you wanted to check with. So no, it's a long list. I didn't notice that Western Australia has so many education institutions, including universities. But anyway, you may want to check that out. Okay, so the next one is the process. Again, they have provided some link. Looks very beautiful. And the what I can tell you is when you click on it, it basically gets you back to the same page. So don't even bother to click on those one. Now it tells you the stages and process that you're required to go through. It's pretty simple. You print your EOI, get your document, prepare, and receive an invitation. I think you should be lodging a state nomination application. What they're saying is you're not required. So we are on step 3 here. For Western Australia, there's no requirement like Victoria. I think New South will need that too. South Australia, sorry. Put an ROI, registration of interest. So there is no requirement for you to do that. As long as you put an EOI, you get your document ready, and there's a detailed document. You may want to have a look. You will receive an invitation. So once you receive the invitation, then you follow the prompt, follow what the email requires you to do. You lodge your state nomination, get that assessed, done deal, and you receive a positive result, and you should have an email coming back to you and ready to actually lodge whether gonna be a 491 or 190 visa. Then once you lodge, you wait for your visa grant. Now we're coming to the exciting part, which is the most useful part of this website. Despite there's a search engine, I don't think they haven't done it in a professional way, but it's already very good. So what you do here, you can actually punch in your occupation, and then you just put apply, and they will search it and find it, and all you need to do is click on that, Wouldn't that be easier? We have just spent about 10 minutes talking about all the contents from this web page, but this is the most useful way to do it because it tells you straight away whatever the occupation, it could access to whatever the visa, what stream, and that's it. I think that's a better way of doing searching and navigate how you can actually get state nomination skill migration for Western Australia. So if we go, this is naval architect, it tells you there's availability for 190491, which is only available for graduate stream. So what does that mean? That means if you're a naval architect, you have to study in one of the university in Western Australia and graduated from there, then that's the only pathway there. Now you can also do this, punch in, select stream type, and then just click on, for example, schedule 1 of the general stream, and then click on apply. Then it will show you the entire list of occupation that is available under the general stream of the schedule 1. So you can see that there's a lot, so obviously I'm not gonna read them all for you, but that's how you could navigate, and this is the best part of, again, this website, because whatever we just read up there, it's not, well, it's still useful, but I believe putting on this search engine right at the top is the best way of designing this web page. Okay, so invitation round, it gives you a little bit of current round. This is what they're trying to duplicate, what the Home Affairs is trying to do, so you can actually see the numbers, and you can see this is still back in last financial year, and that gives you a little bit of what's happening there. And there are some frequent asked questions you may want to go through. There are a lot of them, but I believe a lot of these you can actually find the answers from searching on my channel as well. So that's for Western Australia State Nomination Skill Migration 2023 and 24. Should you have more question and query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. And I see you next video. Goodbye.